Well, good afternoon to everyone and welcome to Viewpoint for today, Friday. It's the end of the week, and I really appreciate the fact that you guys really appreciate the programming throughout the week. We had a very hot topic yesterday, but today is very different. And I'm here with one of the pioneers of talk, radio, and TV as well. We'll be talking to him momentarily, but let me first welcome all of you who are with us. Those of you who are with us by way of TV Carib, Channel 10, good afternoon to you, and also, well, good morning as well, because I understand that this program is also rebroadcast in the morning. And, of course, if you're with us by way of 102.7, good afternoon, or pjd2radio.com, whatever time it is in your neck of the woods. Great to have you with us. All right. I'm here with one of the pioneers of talk radio and TV on St. Martin. I'm talking about a broadcaster who goes by the name of OG. He's going to be with me for the full hour, and we'll be talking to him as to where we go from here as broadcasters post Irma. And without any further ado, I don't need to introduce him. I just want to say to him, it's a pleasure having you here, taking you out of your comfort zone back in the studio at World Star Studio, and bringing you back where you all started.
Well, I didn't start here, but I started in New York back in 1977.
Oh, that's news for me, man.
Yeah. And then came here in 80 and did a year here before going back to New York. So I'm one of the few people in broadcasting in St. Martin who didn't start at this radio station.
Oh, okay. Start elsewhere. But
Right.
but you pioneered the work of the talk business.
I wouldn't say pioneer. There's so many people on this island that played a major role in broadcasting. So, I want to thank you for inviting me here, Wendell, and at the same time, say hello to all the people in St. Martin and the neighboring islands. We've gone through a very difficult time since the 6th of September, and a lot of people are still suffering. I drove around the island, went to the French side yesterday, and we have a lot of recovery still taking place, and it's going to be years before we fully recover. And I just want to let the people know that to stay positive and be optimistic, because it's not going to be easy, but if anyone can do it, Simran can do it.
You remember Louis, and I know that ever so often we have to revert back to it. This by no means is a comparison, because this was way stronger.
Yeah.
But have you seen thus far some of the attributes that came out of post Louis happening in this situation with Irma?
In what sense?
Well, the fact that I felt we were a little bit more together. I think I'm not feeling that much. No, I'm still feeling some agitation and some people being in a different frame of mind than we were back on Lewis.
Well, I think after Lois, we had the same frame of mind. You go through a hurricane, you lose your roof, you don't have utility services, you're struggling, you probably lost your job. It is very difficult. I see those similarities with Lois, but this is different because with Lois, we didn't have any mass evacuations out of St. Martin. With this, we had. I was at the airport when the first C-130 transport plane came in, and I saw the lines of people, over 600 people standing in line on the first day, and I have it all on video. And I couldn't believe I was in St. Martin. And that happened for days. But what Irma showed us is that for a lot of people who come to St. Martin and tell you how much they love St. Martin and how they care about St. Martin, after Irma, they took the first flight out. And I think for a lot of people, it was necessary, but for some people, it wasn't necessary, but it shows you who really care about St. Martin. And the reason why I say this, Wendell, is because Too often, Simran people are made to feel like they're stupid in their own country, that they don't play an important role, and they're not needed here. And then others come in, and when the going get rough, they run.
Mm.
And I always tell people, I have nowhere to go. I couldn't get on a plane and go anywhere. Where could I go? I don't carry a U.S. passport. I don't carry a passport from any other country. I have a passport that was given to me because I was born in St. Martin by the Kingdom of the Netherlands. And that's basically it. So I think what I'm saying here, I speak, I think, for many St. Martiners who don't have a voice, that Irma showed us who our real friends are. Those who are willing to stay here with us and rebuild this country, and those who run, and then they're going to come back when it's rebuilt again. And a lot of people feel like that. That is different than Lois. That didn't happen.
Mm.
People ran away, but you didn't have the kind of evacuation that happened after Irma. And I don't know if you saw it, but I have the video. It was unbelievable.
I have not had the chance to go to the airport, but I remember sitting here and reading off notices, which in fact deals with who can go and what plane would be leaving and to where. And to some degree, I believe some of the people who even got on these planes wasn't even aware that for their final destination, wherever they wanted to go, that they had to financially secure that, to the point where some of them even ended up in Curacao, some ended up wherever else, and didn't have the means to travel on to where their final destination is. And I'm sure you heard of some of that.
Yeah, I think the best coordinated evacuation was done by the U.S. government.
Oh, okay.
You know, the other governments I can't speak for, but what I saw the U.S. government did was impressive, really impressive.
Yeah.
They took care of their citizens, make sure they were out of St. Martin, and again, some people got on planes. I you know, it's strange because this is a great island with good people.
Yeah.
And a lot of people come from all over the world, and they make this their home.
Yes.
And I always say there's no other place like St. Martin. And a lot of those people are still here today. They didn't run off too. They're here. But I go back to see what I just said. We saw who really care about us. Because some people didn't have to run and go anywhere, and they run and they left. And that for me and for many other St. Martiners teach us a lesson that going forward, I don't want to hear anybody telling me about what I can say in my country, what I believe for my country, because I don't want an outsider telling me, they're dictating for me. Because in the end, when something happens, you're going to run, and I got to stay here.
Yeah.
And that is a sentiment of a lot of them. They feel like they've been really let down by some people who, over the years, told. And I'll tell you this, Wendell, because the reason I'm saying this, I heard a recording by a business person from a country that I'm not going to mention, and it was shameful, because anyone who heard that recording would think that this guy was in hell. It didn't do any good for St. Martin. And I'll tell you, you know what really got me angry was the looters. It was well organized, and I was very angry because this is not St. Martin. And you had people from all walks of life involved with the looting. And when I saw what happened at Great Bay Hotel, with people going into that property, with visitors still in that hotel after the hurricane, and no one would help them, that hurt. Because you expect in a time of a disaster that the government will still protect its citizens. It didn't happen. Okay, it did not happen. We were left to fend for ourselves for days while a bunch of gangsters roamed the island, making life difficult for us and also for visitors. Imagine you come to a hotel You visit in St. Martin, you're here on vacation, and a bunch of scumbags after a storm enter your room, push you down, take your items. Come on. This is a friendly island. You know, we're gonna have a very difficult uphill battle to convince the rest of the world that we are still the friendly island. Maybe we should change that to no longer find another name, because we didn't show any friendliness to visitors after Hurricane Irma.
You painted a grim picture of what the realities were back then, those horrible days right after Irma, including the looting and the experience. I heard of some situation, I think in Pelican, I believe, where some of the guests that were staying there as well were basically, some of them were ended up being punched to get out of the way so that they can take whatever. But you talk about it being organized. There was also a theory that some people probably flew in here with such intent in mind.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? There were people who were living here.
Yeah, people here, you know, and this is, I'll tell you, all kinds of people. But there was some young crooks that was really, it gets you angry because you don't expect people to do that after a disaster. And you saw people going with huge furnitures. Right now, I'm sure there's many shacks up in the hill with better furniture than I have in my house, with bigger flat screen TVs than I have, you know. But it wasn't necessary. And you know what also hurts is that they destroy the very business we need to go to after the storm.
Yeah.
There was some business had no problem. They were just breaking down. Come on.
Where did you think we go wrong to allow it to get so far?
Because of the Brooks Towers. All those amnesty that we gave came back to haunt us. Okay? People don't want to say it, but that's a fact. The Brooks Towers, all those amnesty that was given to people to stay here made the problem worse. I'm not saying that they didn't have some run people looting there, but I think we allowed too many gangsters into the country, and that was the result.
That was the result.
Yeah, because then after you saw what happened.
Yeah, they're here.
Look,
and we let them in freely, so.
A businessman described to me what happened to him the morning when he entered his business. I was shocked. His business was good. He had no problem. And he walked in, people just break down the doors, go into everything. He asked him to please leave one item for him. I wouldn't mention what it is because then people would know what I'm speaking about. They wouldn't do it. Come on. It's not good.
Anyway, I'm here with OG, Oral Gibbes. He is, of course, one of the broadcasters that is involved in television broadcasts right here. He has World Star Studio every evening, 3 days a week, I believe.
Three nights.
3 nights a week.
Actually, there's 5 because it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
and Sunday. Yeah, week on cable TV. And I need to ask you though, how much of a challenge is there now, because they themselves have lost some of their infrastructure?
Well, I can't speak for them, so I really don't know what they.
But you know, you're on.
We're doing, but we at World Star Studio, we are ready to go.
You didn't have any damage, did you?
No, just some water came inside, but that's about it. So we're just waiting for cable if they'll come back in the next few weeks. I don't know.
All right. OG, I just need to ask you, what did you have in mind or hope? We have a caller? All right, let me take a call for you, OG. Of course, I like to include our listeners as well because they often have very good questions and comments that will make it all interesting. Good afternoon, caller, you're on.
Yeah, Oral, this is Julian. Oral, you have the right man, the right place. Everything that Oral says there is right on the money. I agree with him 100%. All the best.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, I know that you are very much in touch with what's happening because it's the only way that you will be on top of your game with the work that you do. Your assessment, of course, as well, hold some value in the sense that unless you understand what's happening in your neck of the woods, there's no way that you'll be able to question those people who are often sitting before you the way you should. So the sentiments that you're expressing, I mean, the caller recognized that you're right on the money, and that's why I believe, and we talked about this just before we started, that the role we play as broadcasters is so very important, because often we are not considered playing that important a role in the development of our country. But do you share that view as well?
Well, I think broadcasters receive no respect at all in this on this island. The government certainly don't respect us. Most of the business community certainly don't respect us. I must say I'm fortunate to have business that support our shows, but it could be more. The media on this island doesn't get the respect it deserves, and part of the blame too, I will say, is our fault. But
In what sense?
because we have to be consistent,
Okay, yeah, I see.
and we're not consistent.
Yeah.
If we're consistent, then there's no problem. People know who I am. I say the way I see it. I don't hold back if I believe in something. And what you get here is that too often the media will cherry pick, and that is exactly what the politicians are looking after. They say, okay, they're weak, or they're not consistent, or they are defending one political party over the other. And I've been accused of that myself too. So if you're hard on a politician, everybody gets angry. If you're soft, everybody gets angry. It's a difficult task at the same time.
But when you are being hard, using your word, I often like to use the word critical, because that is the area that digs them the most. Aren't you helping them to be better?
People don't understand the word critical. So you gotta say hard, because that's
What they
what they're gonna
understand.
tell you. you know, I
But aren't we helping them to take another look at how they are doing things, or how they are behaving, conducting themselves?
Well, I don't want to think I'm helping them, because I give an example. I had the Minister of Education, Severo Jacobs, a year or two ago. I can't remember exactly. And it was a tough interview. And at one point during the break, I said, you don't have to defend your predecessor. You see? I said, you don't have to do that. You got to defend yourself. And let us know where we go from here. How are you going to fix the problem? But defending the problem is not your responsibility. I think sometimes ministers or members of parliament feel that they have to defend the mistakes of others. And I think that's a problem, because then you get into a problem with the interviewer, because he's going to go after you. If you're defending that, then you have to really defend it.
I'm glad you bring that up, because when you interview some of our leaders and politicians, and you ask them a question that doesn't relate to them, or maybe it relates to them but they don't have all the answers, it seems to me that there are times when they fail to realize that they have the right to say, you know what, OG, I'd like to answer that another time when I have looked into it more deeply. No, they're always quick to want to respond, and at given times, such as what their response is, and blaming someone else is uncalled for, is unnecessary. I'm asking you, and if you don't think you have all the information, you can easily say that, but they don't do that.
I'll get back to you on another show, and we can talk about it. But then they never come back. If I tell you that they're not going to come back most of the times.
It amazes me, though, that they often feel, and I have to take a break here, but it amazes me that they often feel that you are throwing mud at them when they are in a bad light.
No, I think politicians think that the media hate them. That's not true. The media don't hate you. All they want you to be honest, to be sincere. You know, don't throw up curtains and try to hide what's going on. If you're open, honest, and sincere, they'll treat you with due respect.
Yeah.
And you will find that most people in the media will be good to you.
Yeah.
You know, but if they sense that you're hiding something or you're playing difficult and don't want to come, so when you come on the show, you're gonna get some tough questions. And I don't think any question is a tough question, but politicians always don't want you to ask them some question. You know, but they never tell me that, but I know from other colleagues. So those things happen, and I don't have questions written down. You know, I do interviews without written questions. So
Okay.
if they ask me for questions beforehand, I say I don't have it.
You know,
Yeah.
but you do get people who ask you.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
and I always remind them that people who are not politicians, I say, well, give me a few questions, okay, because you're not a politician.
Yeah.
But if you're a politician, absolutely not.
All right, OG's here with me. I'm going to take a break. When I come back, I'm going to ask him if any good can come out of this whole situation that we've just experienced. That is the 186 miles per hour sustained winds, Irma, with gusts over 200 miles per hour. That was really devastating. But as bad as it was, is there anything good that can come out of St. Martin reconstructing itself? We'll talk to OG about that right after we take a break. We'll be right back. All right, we're back here with OG. He's with me for the full hour until news time. That is about 1 o'clock. Now we'll open up the lines as well for those of you who may want to say anything to OG and contribute to today's discussion. But I'm really pleased to have him here because often the access to him and his brilliant way of thinking is only limited to when you're able to see him on TV. So pulling him out wasn't so very difficult. Of course, I have to play around his schedule, but I'm certainly glad to have him here. And OG, I really appreciate the fact that you took the time and come. And because I do cherish and believe that the community benefits from your way of seeing things because you've been around that long and everything else. Now, let's get to the issue of whether or not anything good can really come out of the bad situation that we've been through with Irma. Do you see any area that we might be able to get things right or see things for what it is and are willing to have the guts, the balls to really make these changes if it means blaming it on Irma, but do it for the good of the country?
I guess in a way we could say, as I saw on the vehicle yesterday, merci, Irma.
Merci.
So it's nice to see that they're saying in French.
Thank
thanks.
you.
Yeah. I think that a lot of good is going to come out of this. This is an opportunity for St. Martin to really bounce back really, really good. It's going to require our government to be attentive. Yesterday, when I was in Marigot, I stopped at the business, and while I was in there, I saw this huge delegation walk through the door with sous-prefet and military officials and different people. And I said to myself, wow, this is good. They care about business. They're walking to the different business, inspecting, etc. I haven't seen that yet on this side, Wendell, unless it is happening and I'm not aware of it. I think government needs to understand the importance of business. This island cannot recover if the government don't give due respect to the business community. because you could say all you want. If business don't get the kind of relief that they need, because we all hear people speaking about relief. The government wants relief. The business community also needs relief. And that needs to be well thought out and coordinated. But if that happens, I think this island, 3 years from now, is going to be back better than before.
Is that the only area of good? What about our immigration situations? What about those people who may have evacuated out of the island coming back? They're feeling that they were here once upon a time and they may had the opportunity to work because they had a work permit and they left and come back in. Can we straighten those areas up?
Look, we need to secure our borders. There's no doubt about that. Can we do it on our own? I don't think so. The problem is politicians don't want assistance from the Dutch when it comes to that. We need to make up our minds what we want. Either we're going to be a part of the kingdom of the Netherlands and we're going to have to take the good and the bad with it, or we're going to have to just get out. But if we're going to stay in it, then it can't always be the way we want it to be. So if the kingdom government is saying you got to secure your borders, you got to secure your borders, period. And you can't do it on your own. So what the big fuss about it?
I've never heard it that way, though, the way you put it, taking it with the good and the bad. But you're so right about that. I mean, we are in a situation right now where we need the relief that has been earmarked to get our reconstruction going. But there has been some stalemate between our government not willing to work along with the conditions that has been placed on getting this relief started. So are they in the right place?
I don't know. And I tell you what, and I was speaking to a little old lady the other day. The Dutch military came over to her house. They surveyed her house. They're going to come back and they're going to put on the roof for her. You think that little old lady care about what a politician here thinks about the Dutch government or the Dutch military? No way. Because who's coming to help her? Isn't it the Dutch military? And so that's what I'm saying is that, look, everybody knows Oral Gibbes' position. I am a person who believes in political independence for St. Martin. I don't deny that. I never run from it. But the fact remains that, and I'm not going to make excuses, we have not done the kind of job to show our people that we're ready and capable to do it. And what's so sad about it is we haven't coordinated things properly. So when you have that little old lady or that little old man that have no one to go to, and 2 or 3 Dutch soldiers can come in and repair his house roof or her house roof, what do you think they're going to say? And that's a lot of people getting that help. That help should be coming from us, not the Dutch military. Did they go around and survey and see what's happening? Look, after Irma, you feel like your government don't care about you, man. Food was coming. Where was the food for days? People was complaining. Look, I'm telling you what people were saying. I had no problems with food, but a lot of people had problems with food.
Oh yeah.
And people stopped me all over. Where's the food? They heard a plane came on the airport with tons of relief. They didn't see it. I know what I'm saying here. A lot of people is not going to like it, but we cause problems for ourselves. We have set ourselves back years to come because we've shown that we can't take care of our own problems, that we don't care about our own people, those that are weak, those that can't help themselves. We have a long way to go, Randall, and it's unfortunate that we are sitting on this island fighting the Dutch when we know we can't do it by ourselves. And that's what I said earlier. We need to know if we want to stay or go. And if we stay, it comes with responsibilities and obligations, and everything is not going to go the way we want it to go. The Dutch has promised development in this whole recovery. And I think what we have done is basically just argue and wrangle over it. And it's hurting the average citizen. It's not hurting me. But you know what? It hurts me at the same time because I'm a St. Martiner. And I see how many people out there need help. And we got to cut the crap with the politics and start to do what we have to do. Get this island back on its feet. And we cannot do it alone. And if the Dutch government wants to help, at the same time, I must say, the way the minister approached it is blackmail. It should not have been done like that. But at the same time, it's up to our government to be sincere. And too often, and I told someone the other day, you know, the Dutch government for the past 50 plus years have always been given a 6 for 9 by our own politicians. We're brilliant. People always talk about, oh, the Dutch have 400 plus years of the... We're smarter than they are. Guys with just a high school education in politics have been able to twist and turn Dutch politicians. And they're saying, guys, it's over now. Cut the crap.
Yes.
We're not going to do it accept you anymore. You're not going to come and tell us yes, and when you go home, it's no. Or I didn't want it that way, I want it that way.
Yeah.
We agreed to a number of things.
And we never keep up with it.
If you remember,
Yeah.
in November of 2006, the then commissioner, I know she was Sarah Westcott Williams, called in on my show, very excited on the agreements they had reached in the Hague. But they didn't tell you the details. Now everybody's upset. I always tell people, the CFT was the best thing. They don't like to hear it.
No, I want you to know I share the same
If
sentiments.
we didn't have the CFT agreement in place,
we'd have never
we'd
had
have
a
a
balanced
huge
budget.
debt, billions of guilders today, Wendell. It would be squandered all by our own people, put us in more debt. That's coming from me, Oral Gibbes. People don't like to hear that. That's a fact. I care about this country. That doesn't mean that our politicians don't care. But they can't control themselves when it comes to spending. And I have an issue with that.
And you're saying basically that the Dutch we have given the Dutch every chance to be able to evaluate how we would conduct ourselves because we've never lived up to
The
what
Dutch
we
don't
promised.
trust us. They don't trust us. And when you lost trust in a person, then you know what happens. And at the same time, the mistrust is mutual.
On both sides.
Yeah, it's mutual because also they have made promises that they haven't lived up to.
But OG, we do have different people in government at the moment. When we look back at the past compared to now, aren't they any different?
You're speaking about a culture, a political culture. It doesn't matter who's there. That political culture that was mentioned in the Poirier report, it exists up to today. we can change. They say leopard can't change his color. That's what we are. I always say all of our politicians are cut from the same cloth. They don't like to hear it. This island is a unique island. And we need to understand one thing. I think we need politicians with backbone. And they have some new young ones now, I admire that. But we're not going for it now.
But if they are trained, or the person who they look up to conducting themselves a similar way, doesn't that influence their behavior to be likewise?
It's difficult because you got to remember, modern politics it's like I would just say it's a family-based politics. No? Okay, you have both French and Dutch side. It's controlled by no more than 15 to 20 families.
They don't look across the spectrum and single out someone who has demonstrated that they are quite capable of leading and graft them into the position of being in control. They always connect to the families.
That don't happen in Somalia. It can't.
Yeah.
It can't.
And also you have to take into consideration as well that we usually use that platform to be able to garner the amount of votes that we need to have in order to be elected. You always find the people who have bigger families are the ones that usually get the opportunities, because they know that if their family turn out in mass, that they will get the kind of support they need to be in control of government.
Hey, see, the problem is that we're in 2017, and the family politics haven't served us right. And if we continue like this, we're heading for disaster. Because then I'm going to put my cousin, who doesn't know anything, but because he's my cousin, he's going to run this.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to put my aunt. You know, this is the problem on this island, that we need to wake up and say, look, let's put the best person. Doesn't have to be my family.
Let me take a call for you, OJ. Okay, caller, good afternoon, you're on.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Oral Gibbes, you are saying things which absolutely are true. Now, I'm not saying that the Dutch have not made their mistakes. Definitely not. I'm not denying such. But the truth is powerful. The Dutch, from time to time, when they have been accused as not helping this island, that is not outrightly the truth. The Dutch have made strides to help this island, and when helping, they have also helped a whole lot of people not belonging to the island. They have their faults, yes, but they are helpful to the island, irrespective of what people want to think. And I can say there are still memories of this island. Growing up as a boy and having attended school here, where people talk a lot of fraud, the Dutch have been tactful and helpful to the people educationally as well, and have educated many other countries in the Caribbean when our people were being educated. So, people very often talk a lot of crap not saying they're right in every direction, but they have been more helpful than destructive. Will tell you that.
So, Doc, are you saying I'm talking a lot of crap because I have not said what you're saying?
Listen, I'm not saying you are talking crap. I said there are people who have been talking crap. I know what I'm saying.
Oh, I just wanted to clarify because
Well,
yeah.
I have been born, raised in this atmosphere, and I have worked with all kinds of people. American, Dutch people, I have worked with them and for them, and all that very often has been said about the Dutch is not absolutely the way it is being addressed.
Okay, Doc. Thank you very much.
What you like. Don't tell me okie doc.
I gotta go, Doc. I gotta go.
It's not a matter of the okie doc. The Dutch has been helpful to this island, and remains to be, because the fact is we often don't hear everything. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Well, I don't think anyone was saying they're not helpful.
I think the big problem here is we ourselves have proven that we are the biggest enemy of ourselves. And that put us in a bad light when the Dutch don't have any confidence in us. And maybe it's not altogether bad what we have been doing, it's just that we're not, like you said, we're not consistent in having the kind of feeling that we should have about country. We become a little bit greedy and looking out more for ourselves than really for the country.
But I illustrated earlier the help that they're giving. This island could not have started recovery as fast as it's going without the Dutch government being here.
Yeah.
We have to acknowledge that. Definitely. We need to do more. If we want to talk and be out there saying that we're XYZ, we need to do more.
But isn't the parliament too as well? I mean,
come on,
working a little slow in being able to give us.
What parliament? What parliament?
Well, they are our legislators,
I
OG.
know, but I don't. They probably went to sleep since Irma.
Yeah, we're not hearing anything. All right. I think we got to leave it there because it's news time. I want to thank you for coming in. I want to ask you. All right. Let me just take this final call then. Good afternoon, caller. Be quick, please. Go right ahead.
Good afternoon. Mr. Gibbes, I would like to say thank you for what you have been saying. I must say, sometimes I'm a little upset the way how you do talk on your program, but the words you have said this afternoon are correct. And I agree with you. I say the same thing, that the Dutch is blackmailing us. And if they want to really talk about integrity, they should put in using the integrity chamber, have that swinging in front of us, either the money or either the integrity chamber. That is not correct when a person is down and out. It is a ridiculous thing. They should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that. You want to comment quickly on that?
Oh, thank you, caller. Appreciate your call. Thank you.
I don't think a lot of people are disconnected in our community as to what is going on. They're very much paying attention to what's going on. And that is a plus.
But they're afraid to say anything, too.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Not being willing to open up and identify it for what it is.
Because of the consequences if you open up.
Yeah, I know. OG, would you mind doing this again sometime soon? I know you're very busy, but
well, let me know a few weeks in advance. Got my schedule.
I want to thank you, though, for sharing your thoughts. I really do appreciate it. And I want to thank all listeners who listen attentively to what was being said. But it's a matter of personal assessment on his part, the way he sees things. And I think it's important to bring balance to our country developing or redeveloping after Irma. And I want to thank you for coming and sharing your final word.
Thank you, Wendell, and all the best to your viewers. And hopefully soon they'll see me back on television, as if the government wants me to, since they purchased cable TV.
Yeah.
And we don't know what they're doing
That's
right now.
another challenge. That's another can of worms. You don't want to go there. All right, the news is next, folks. I want to thank you. Enjoy your weekend to this Friday. Mind you, tomorrow is in the heart of the weekend. Come back and join me on Monday, God's willing, when I'll be here once again at noon with your radio. I call it Radio Talk Viewpoint. Until then, enjoy your weekend. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.